And we begin this broadcast with the top story that we're focusing on right now, getting you the latest updates from the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. Now, Israel's war against Hamas militants has reached Lebanon. And according to Hamas and security officials in Lebanon, an Israeli strike has killed Hamas's deputy leader. As per reports, Saleh al-Arouri was killed along with his bodyguards in an Israeli drone strike on Beirut's southern suburbs. Now, this explosion shook Musharafieh, one of the Lebanese capital's southern suburbs and a stronghold of the militant Hezbollah group, which is an ally of Hamas. Now, Lebanese state media reported that the strike hit a Hamas office, and while other reports suggest that a total of 7 people were killed in this attack.
At about 5:30, we heard the sound of an explosion, then another explosion, followed by a third explosion a few seconds later. The smoke was rising heavily. The explosion shook our office.
Saleh al-Arouri was the deputy head of Hamas and a founder of its military wing, the Qassam Brigades. Now, well, Israel has previously announced that killing in Gaza of Hamas commanders and officials during the war, but Arouri is the most high-profile figure to be killed so far, and his death came in the first strike on the Lebanese capital since hostilities began. And the strike also marks the first killing of a Hamas official outside Palestinian territories. Israel has declined to comment on the death of Arouri, and although Israeli army spokesperson Daniel Hagari, who did not directly comment on Arouri's killing, said that the military is highly prepared for any scenario in its aftermath.
The IDF is in a very high state of readiness in all arenas, in defense and offense. We are highly prepared for any scenario.
On the other hand, Hamas Chief Ismail Haniyeh has said that Arouri's killing is a terrorist act and is a violation of Lebanon's sovereignty and an expansion of Israel's hostility against Palestinians. Now, Hezbollah leader Syed Hassan Nasrallah has vowed to retaliate against any Israeli targeting of Palestinian officials in Lebanon, and they've also warned that the killing of Arouri will not go unanswered. Now, Palestinian Islamic Jihad has vowed revenge in a statement, saying that the crime will not go unpunished and the resistance will continue until the occupation is removed. Now, Iran has said that the killing would further galvanize the fight against Israel, and while Yemen's Houthis movement have expressed their condolences. French President Emmanuel Macron, in the meanwhile, has called on Israel to avoid any escalation. Macron, who spoke by telephone with the Israeli minister and the war cabinet member Benny Gantz, Macron said that it is essential to avoid any escalatory attitude, particularly in Lebanon. And just a while ago, we spoke to Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis with additional updates on this story. Take a look at what he had to say.
Well, everything depends on what happens next. It seems almost impossible to suggest that Hassan Nasrallah won't retaliate as he said he did. He had actually made some statements about that during the summer, that if Israel assassinated any member of the so-called axis of resistance on Lebanese soil, they would retaliate. And the fact that this was not just in Lebanon, but in the heart of the capital city, I just can't imagine that they're going to let that go without some kind of response. And what happens next if they have some kind of a response deep into Israel, and if it's some big kind of a strike, you can't imagine that Israel would also not retaliate again, only stronger after that. And of course, every time you get on the escalation rungs of that ladder, you get a chance for this to explode into a much larger war. And then you have the potential for Iran to come into this on the side of Hezbollah if it gets that far. And we've already got issues. I think you said a minute ago in the Red Sea, we have issues in the Iraq and in Syria, with the United States forces being attacked, with Israel assassinating Iranian leaders in Syria. This is just a very volatile mix right now.